Hazer, I guess just to start, unfortunately, on a bit of a sour note, last week you guys jump out to a 4-1 lead after 15 minutes, and then the offense kind of goes away for the bulk of the rest of that game. What did you see that changed between that first quarter and the final three?
First quarter, yeah, we were on fire. We were, like I say, moving our feet well, getting through the middle, um, extending them out of their comfort zone. And I think in the second half, actually starting in the second quarter, I think Dylan Ward there, he started being exceptional, which is what he is. And again, the year outstanding, he's still one of the elite goaltenders in this league, and he showed us what he's all about, I think, really at the end of the day. Second half, I think they sort of got a little tighter in their zone. They packed it in a bit more, didn't get quite so extended, but I thought we also settled on a lot of easy stuff. Where in the first quarter, first half, we didn't. We made that one more extra pass, and again, we got through the middle and extended their D and created gaps. Where in the second half, we just kind of, like I say, stopped doing that, I think, here at the end of the day. And the chances we had, like I say, Dylan was he was exceptional. He stoned us.
I'll go back. I'll use a quote that Ryan Smith gave us probably a month ago, where he said, talking about himself personally, he said, "I wanted to cut down on dumb shots,
Mhm.
shots that really were very unlikely to produce a scoring chance or a goal." Without, I guess you probably won't say your team took dumb shots, but did your team take shots that you thought they could have maybe done a little bit different, something different on the execution, maybe an extra pass, or an extra seam to create more quality chances? Do you feel like your team was just sort of throwing at times balls on goal that were maybe easier for Ward to see?
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, we extended 30s by getting some hardworking loose balls in the offensive zone, and then we turned around and shot it with 22 seconds versus that first quarter there. Like we were extending that next 30. And again, we kind of, not that there were bad shots we were taking, like they were in good spots, good opportunities, but Dylan was able to stay square and just sort of follow the ball up versus having to go side to side and and trying to set his feet. He just sort of took those half steps, and if he steps to the top of the crease like he did in the second half, we're not going to get it by him too many times.
Were you surprised with that game's outcome? I mean, not just the loss, but the lack of goals, given where your team had been these last 3 weeks entering tonight, or entering last Saturday?
Yes and no. Like I say, there was that belief that we were going to sort of chip away at it once we got down the what was it, 9-5 or such. Like we still had that belief going to the fourth quarter, okay, that we're going to get it, but it is what it is. And again, we talked about it going into that game, like record aside, that team knows how to win. And again, they've been to this final twice, won it once. They know how to do it, and we shouldn't have expected anything but their best performance. And again, they showed up in the second half. They took us to a different level that we weren't able to match at the end of the day here. So it's again, they know how to do it. We're trying to learn. So hopefully that's a lesson we take moving forward here this week.
Your three wins, three-game win streak came against teams that were ahead of the Knighthawks in the standings. Same situation entering this week against Halifax. Um, what are you seeing from the Thunderbirds that you anticipate being a challenge?
Again, right there, they're a complete team, and they do score in bunches, but once they get rolling, they're tough to stop. Really, at the end of the day, and again, you got so many weapons on the front end. Defensively, they play hard, they play quick, and they play mean. And we gotta, like I say, we gotta commit to what we think is going to be successful for us in both ends of the floor, and hopefully we can, like I say, use our pace and put them on their heels a bit and cash in on a few things that, like I say, hopefully we'll highlight here moving forward.
The other thing I want to ask about before I turn it over is it's Rock the Rink this Saturday, kind of a celebration of Rochester. Joe Post has called this area home for quite some time, and he has had a pretty terrific season, I'd say, especially in the dot. What do you or how do you value Joe Post and what he has brought to the Rochester Knighthawks?
He's brought us, say, a confidence level that, what am I trying to say here? He makes our defensive fresher by not, like I say, 62%, 65% winning on faceoffs, right? Historically, our defense have been on the floor more often than not. Like again, he makes us fresher back there, so we have the ability to sort of push wave after wave. And again, offensively, he's allowed us to sort of stay in a bit of a groove and sort of look to, like I say, just build upon that last shift where hopefully we had some success. That's why he's on the face-off taking it, right? So, and you know, and again, I keep saying that he's not just a face-off guy for us. He's a guy that when he's on the floor, whether it's be stuck or his next shift, he plays a good set of D. Still learning the indoor game, and I think he's still getting comfortable with what his role is and understanding the different nuances of it. But he's turning himself into never mind, an elite face-off guy, but a very good lacrosse player on our team.
I lied. I have one more question, guys. Sorry. To follow up on that, then, Hazer, is it fair to say, like, and I don't know if you would say that he is there yet, but is he or can he be considered like a game changer? Like everybody's out there, there's a ton of points in this game, but there are guys that like a Connor Fields can change a game. Is he a game changer simply by constantly being able to get the ball back in your possession even after you're scoring?
For us, yeah, I don't necessarily want to highlight it as being a game changer. I think it just sort of helps us to continue our momentum. Because again, at the end of the day, he's going to have his hands full against Jake Withers here. And he may have that ability to change the game where, you know, Jake has been historically, I don't even know what his numbers are, but they're pretty high and he's kind of dominated most guys most nights, right? So for us, he may be able to change that game for us by, you know, continuing his 60% or even getting that 50% against Jake. I think it will allow us to, like I say, get those extra offensive possessions here. And yeah, let's see how he battles against one of the best again.
Thanks, Hazer.
No problem.
Coach, and just to piggyback off that, I mean, you mentioned Jake just momentarily. I mean, he's 74% faceoff, leading the league. He's got almost 250 ground balls. He's almost 100 ground balls more than anybody else in the league right now. Just, I mean, just at these crazy numbers right now. How does Joe neutralize? I mean, get to that 50% mark, which most people can't get to against Jake.
You know what? He's just got to, like, he's just got to, you know, he's just got to battle at the end of the day here, I think. And again, I'm not a face-off guy myself. I just get us the ball, right? But if he has that ability to also get under Jake's skin here a little bit, Jake has a reputation of kind of sometimes going offside and getting a little unhinged at points. So if he can get under his skin and get him rattled as well, at the end of the day, it kind of helps us out here as well a little bit on that side of it.
And taking a look at Halifax, I mean, Cody Jamieson is an all-time great in this league. He was, you know, when he was coming in, people talked about him being an all-time great and he had a lot of pressure on himself when he was first starting out. And certainly you coached him for a long time. And now he's no longer the number one option in Halifax. But I mean, he's certainly a guy that you still have to watch out for. And I mean, he's one of those guys that he may not be their number one scorer, but he's certainly one of those top threats.
Oh, 100%. And again, I think everything, he still makes that offense go at the end of the day. Like he's in the middle of it. Again, he's on the floor constantly because again, you know, with Wiz and his ability to win the faceoffs, like he's on the floor and the ball gets to him real quick and away they get going, right? So yeah, he's always a threat. And yeah, we got to make sure we know where he is 100% of the time. And again, if we can sort of eliminate the stuff that he does so well, take advantage of a few things, then you know we'll see where we are at the end of the 60.
And transitioned over to our side, and you look at Connor, who's having another historic season, piggybacking off his last season, and he's a guy. I mean, he's if not this game, certainly next game, he's going to have 100 points, which Americans don't do very often. Obviously, he's got over 100 loose balls. I mean, how crazy is that you've got an offensive player that can score 100 points in a season, but also have over 100 loose balls? And really, I mean, he's probably going to finished the season with over 150 loose balls. I mean, those are some crazy numbers for an offensive player.
Yeah, no, 100%. He just has that, he has a knack and he has the confidence in, well, when first go back to it, like he has such really good feet that he's able to create his own shot first and foremost, but he also has a nose and a knack of, like I say, finding that loose ball and reacting quicker than a D guy does. And again, he puts himself in good spots to, to put up the points and find the open guys on the assist side of things. But yeah, he has that ability and guys understand what he does as well. That's one thing that we do stress to the offense is that we got to make sure 50-50 stuff, we're covered off all the time on the backside of things. And, having Knight or having Turner on the floor lately for us has given Fieldsy a little bit more free reign to kind of go hunt that loose ball, and he's coming up with it more often than not. So yeah, again, he's playing well. The group around him is also giving him a little bit of extra uh ability, to track it down and take that chance to get that loose ball back.
And certainly one of those guys. I mean, Lanchbury is having a historic month offensively, and he's really established himself as one of the top feeders in the league. I mean, obviously, when you have 12 assists in a game, that's going to tip the scales in your favor. But I mean, even aside from that game, he has really, over the last probably 5 or 6 games, really done a great job of helping facilitate this offense.
No, 100%. And that's like I say, a young guy that year one didn't have that success, and there's those question marks of is he able going to step up and do it? And I think the proof is in the pudding here a little bit that he is what people expected out of him, and I think in the surroundings that he's in this year, it's given them the ability to have the ball in his stick more often than not, and the playmakers need the ball in their stick at the end of the day, and he's fitting in well with the group around him. He's finding those cutters and swinging the ball and extending our offense, and as well he's bearing his opportunities. So yeah, it's been great. It's great so far.
And last one for me, certainly having Dan Coates back in the lineup is huge, and no, certainly it was a tough loss having your captain out and not at practice. But then we could see when he was at practice and shoot arounds how his importance to the team. But now you have him back on the floor, so you get everything back. How important has it been to have Coates not only back with the team, but back in the lineup and on the floor with this group?
No, it's settled our back end down tremendously. It's also sort of leveled our bench a little bit because again, he's so dialed in, and again, he's the ultimate professional leading up to a game, on the game, and he just sort of keeps guys in check. And his voice matches. Again, the biggest thing for us is his voice is matching his output. So we were definitely missing that, and the last few games is it's sort of steady us here, to say the least.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, I just had a couple here for you. So the one question I had, we talk about a lot of guys on the defensive end, and one guy I feel like maybe doesn't get mentioned, but has, especially if you look at the block shots, Ethan O'Connor has really been sacrificing himself on that back end. What can you say about how he's been able to contribute every single game, especially considering the absences you have had on defense?
Yeah, you know what? He's fearless. Some may say a little bit crazy, standing in those lanes, but he, like I say, he just brings a different level and a different commitment to the game that that historically we really haven't had in the last little while, and especially since Paulie Doss. Paulie Doss also used to soak a lot of shots too, but he just sort of leads by example here. And he's been doing it for years, and again, he's continued that through us, and it's allowed us to be, that's the one thing that he's also learned here. I think, the person behind him is a little bit different than the guy he's also had with playing in Buffalo with Matt there. So he's also developed his game a little bit where he's not just in lanes soaking balls, he's in lanes getting back on hands. And again, it's taken him a little while to get to that point, but him being able to change his game for us and for Hutchie there has been a benefit for us as well. And again, it's another pointing to, it's another teaching moment for us for our younger group that this is the way we need to play to gives ourselves an opportunity or
And
a better
so
opportunity. Sorry.
And so to piggyback off of Brendan's point about Connor Fields and how successful he's been, you've been around this game for a long time now. Is there a player in the past on any team, not necessarily on one of your teams, that you can say Connor Fields reminds me of this guy's, considering all of his abilities?
Honestly, not to my recollection. Again, there's a lot of guys with that, offensive ability and able to break down defenses on an individual basis, but there's also a lot of guys that don't put themselves in harm's way, where Connor does at points in the game. And again, going into a corner to get a loose ball is not an easy thing to do, because you do have those D guys that will be on him real quickly. And again, he's fearless, and again, he's coming out with it. So off the top of my head and under pressure like that, I can't. No one really. I can't really recollect anybody that has that ability to do both.
And then just finally for you, and I know that you guys are so focused on this season and what you guys are able to produce each game. I was having a great conversation earlier this week with Scott Marr, head coach of the Albany Great Danes, and you have 2 draft picks coming in next year in Graydon Hogg and Jake Pacino. Jake obviously having a historic season yet again. I just wanted to know if you're tracking what they've been doing this season at all, and does both of their performances, if you have been tracking Albany, if that gives you guys a little bit of a confidence boost knowing what you have coming in.
Yeah, it does. Again, they're on our depth charts, and they're part of our kind of our weekly conversation about what's coming here, what we got to, and what we've done, especially through the trade deadline of what we're looking at. But yeah, and again, I don't necessarily track them on a game by game, day by day basis, but seeing what Graydon has done on the offensive side of things, and Jake on the defensive side of things, and again, how much box experience does he have? I don't think it's going to matter. He's just a pit bull, and he's fearless, and he's strong. And again, seeing the highlights the last couple of weeks of what he's doing, yeah, we are excited about those 2 coming in. And again, I think it just adds more depth to our team. And yeah, moving down the road, it's it shores up 2 areas for us, I think, a little bit that we necessarily don't really have to concern ourselves with in the next draft or in the next trade deadlines, or how we're going to make our team a little bit better. We got 2 guys that are going to come in and compete and hopefully do that.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Coach.
No problem. Thanks.
Ripper, do you have anything?
I'm good, man. Just taking notes.
All right, Hazer. Thank you much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Coach.
Take care. We'll see you.